As the first anniversary of the Russian invasion of Ukraine approaches, Moscow's troops continue to put pressure on Ukrainian forces in the east of the country. The Munich Security Conference comes to a close with world leaders vowing to ramp up support and military aid for Ukraine.
A seventh week of protests in Israel over judicial reform proposals many see as an attack on democracy.
As the war in Ukraine approaches its one-year anniversary, Ukrainian soldiers are pushing back Russian attempts to break through their lines. With the arrival of spring, many believe the fighting could be nearing a critical phase when both sides look to launch offensives. However, for these soldiers, the fighting never let up.
Хочеться поскоріше як то кажучи, щоб закінчилась війна, поскоріше їх вигнати з нашої землі, з території.
In the village of Zelin, civilians are waiting for humanitarian aid while the loud sounds of explosions can be heard close by. Near Bakhmut, Russian forces have piled on the pressure on Kyiv's troops. But the Ukrainian line is holding firm, and its soldiers are ready should the conflict escalate.
Quickly.
The Munich Security Conference came to a close on Sunday, with world leaders vowing to step up military aid to Ukraine. European Union Foreign Policy Coordinator Josep Borrell said he supported an Estonian proposal for the EU to buy ammunition on behalf of its members to help Kyiv.
Zelensky and the Ukrainians have a lot of applaudissement and not enough ammunition. That's the paradox. They need to be less applaud and better supply with arms.
At the conference, senior Chinese diplomat Wang Yi called for stronger cooperation between China and Europe, saying Beijing was ready to fully restart exchanges with Brussels and the rest of the world. During a panel discussion with German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock and U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba stressed once again Ukraine's needs for more weapons, artillery and tanks.
The United Nations is over.
As the Munich Security Conference continues, thousands of demonstrators gathered across the city as part of various anti-war protests. Anti-NATO protesters, pacifists of various backgrounds, or pro-Kurdish supporters shouted their slogans. This comes as world leaders at the conference urged to step up military aid to Ukraine. At the same time, pro-Ukrainian demonstrations were also underway in the Bavarian city on Odeon Square. Protesters criticized the Russian invasion, condemned President Vladimir Putin and his government, and urged for more support for the war-torn country. In attendance was last year's Nobel Peace Prize winner Alexandra Matvichuk.
Hundreds of demonstrators took to the streets of Israel for the seventh consecutive week to protest against the government's judicial reform proposals. On Monday, Knesset members will be able to vote on the bill, which aims to allow Parliament to overrule the country's Supreme Court with a simple majority vote.
אין לנו ברירה, אנחנו לא נוותר. זה המדינה שלנו. אני נלחמתי פה במלחמות, אני איבדתי חברים במלחמות. הם לא מתו בשביל הדבר הזה, הם לא מתו בשביל מדינת דיקטטורה. ואני חייב עבורם, אני חייב את זה. זה המינימום.
אני מרגישה תקווה, אבל באותה נשימה אני מרגישה שיש פה כל כך הרבה אנשים, והממשלה עדיין לא מסכימה להקשיב לקול הזה.
Advocates of reform say it would restore balance to the system, but many see it as an attack on democracy. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is still on trial for corruption, and critics say he could use the new laws to overturn a conviction.
Syrian authorities say Israel launched an airstrike on a residential building in the Syrian capital of Damascus, killing at least 5 people and injuring some 15 more. Explosions were heard early Sunday morning, with local media reporting several other buildings were also damaged in the attack. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported 15 people were also killed outside of Damascus in strikes targeting sites linked to Iranian militias and the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. There was no immediate statement from Israel on the attack.